The beautiful game is this idea that you don't play to win or play to avoid losing. You play for the joy of playing.
1, 2, 3.
Midlife is a revival, a second chance to live the life you imagined. Our lives were transformed in midlife when we started rock climbing, ice climbing, and mountaineering.
We're Ray and Jackie, and we're on a search for inspiring stories of other midlifers who are redefining what's over the hill.
I'm walking through these doors for the first time in many years. I graduated from MBCI a long time ago, and today I'm back here to meet Andrew Hiebert, an award-winning teacher who brings something extraordinary to the classroom. Andrew embodies the essence of a midlife maverick, challenging the status quo with his unique fusion of science and art.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Jackie, welcome here.
Thank you.
Oh, welcome to my space.
Thanks for having me. Wow, this room brings us.
My own dreams started here in these very halls and classrooms. Andrew reminds me of the boundless possibilities that education can ignite.
When you go to the gym, even though your right arm is the strongest, no one just works out their right arm, right? But this is what we do with our brains. We say to ourselves, oh, I'm a good science student. I like logic, so I'm only going to do a logical science step. Or, oh, I'm an art student. I like to be creative. I'm only going to do creative stuff. Why not do both? We do this with our bodies. Why not do it with our minds?
He would tell us about how it takes creativity to come up with different theories and things that have created the building blocks of what we're learning today.
My name is Leonardo.
As a teacher, he is very high energy, very charismatic, always something going on and always trying to keep the kids engaged by being very enthusiastic.
Very enthusiastic. He makes a very fun class, very entertaining.
But they haven't been taught by a Leonardo.
You never really know what you get when you go to Mr. Hiebert's class. I did not call him Dad, only when my friends would leave and he would drive me home. Okay, Dad, let's go. But in class, he was just Mr. Hiebert to me. He's a very out there guy.
While art might seem like something Andrew folded into his life and classroom, it's actually the other way around. Art was his first passion, the element that sparked everything.
So check out these memories that I found from my childhood. And I have a special box of all my Calvin and Hobbes memories when I was a kid. I loved Calvin and Hobbes so much, I wrote a letter to Bill Watterson.
Did he actually answer you back?
He did.
Really?
Check this out. There it is.
Can I see?
Yeah.
You think he typed this on a typewriter, you think?
Totally. It's all by hand. Yeah. Absolutely. This is 1987. This is
He
before
signed it
computers.
by hand, too?
Yes. Yeah. Before computers. That's all real.
Dear Andrew, thank you for your letter. I am pleased to hear you enjoy my comic strip. It's always hard to know what advice will help an aspiring cartoonist. Lots of practice is the only way to develop the skill. Good luck. W.B. Watterson.
I submitted a portfolio to the local college's advertising art program. And to my great excitement, the portfolio was accepted. So when I went to the interview and they asked me about why I wanted to take advertising art, I want to become a cartoonist. And I know that you can't make money as a cartoonist right off the hop, so I want to become an advertising artist, sort of so I can make money in the meantime. And also, I want to learn all of the stuff that you guys can teach me about how you trick people to buy crap that we don't even need. As an adult looking back on it, it's actually hilarious, but they're like literally the things that I said, and I completely destroyed my chances of entering into the advertising art program. I really embraced the idea that teaching is an art, and sort of in my mind transferred all my passion for cartooning as some sort of a cool performance art that I could do to inspire others.
He mentioned that he was an artist within probably the first week of classes, which originally we didn't really think much about, but you notice it kind of peeking through a lot of his lessons, and it makes a huge difference in what he does.
I knew early on that the man I married was wildly creative. I'm not actually sure Andrew has ever grown up.
He's just really just a big kid, actually.
As a dad, as a parent, you have to grow up. You have to not be childish as much anymore.
He tries to connect the beauty of art and the math side of science to try and show how they work with each other and how they are related all the time.
I've wanted to nominate Andrew for a teaching award for a lot of years. And so I came across this award. It's called the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And we thought, wow, Andrew is just such a perfect candidate for this. Part of our submission was that he is also an artist, and that as he talks with his students, he is talking to them as a teacher, as a scientist, but also as an artist.
It was just incredible to receive that award, because it's like the top award a teacher can get, and it was really wonderful. Absolutely wonderful validation of what I've been doing. I was in the basement trying to fix and solve a leaking problem that we were experiencing in this sort of sunken pit area in our basement. So I sprayed the pit with this rubber sealant, and then realizing that I could still smell, even on the main floor, some of the chemicals that I had sprayed in the basement. Okay, well, maybe I could burn off some of the fumes. So I went down to the basement and I brought a candle, crouched down with my lighter, and clicked the lighter to light the candle.
I was outside gardening and I peered inside through the basement window and I couldn't see anything. But then I heard Andrew screaming, and immediately I saw that he was smoking in his upper body.
I got thrown out of the pit to the far side of my studio, and I remember my arms were flailing upwards, and I remember looking up at my arm, my right arm, and the skin was peeling off and falling off of my arm, and I knew I was in trouble.
911, what's your emergency?
We have a fire in our house and my husband is badly burned. Please send someone right away.
The paramedics arrived, firemen arrived. They went down to the basement, they took care of that. And then they promptly took me to the hospital where I got treated for second-degree burns for over 20% of my body. They didn't know if I was going to live or if I had inhaled some of the fire and if I had burned my throat. But after a day or so, they realized that I didn't burn my throat. I knew in my gut, I'm getting a miracle. I'm getting a miracle. And if you look at my body, you would never know. Like, there's a tiny little scar, but you would never know, like, my face, my arms, both my legs were so severely burned.
I think the fire actually made Andrew realize his own mortality, in that before it had always been about my health and doing things so that I could be around. And I think this really shook him to the core. Very shortly after I turned 40, I was hit with the diagnosis of breast cancer. Overnight, our lives changed.
There was always this sort of element of denial of like, well, maybe it won't happen. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's benign, maybe it's some other problem. But once the diagnosis was given, everything changed. Everything was different.
The first thing that was on my mind was my kids, and how was I going to teach them all the things that they needed to know if I wasn't going to be around.
Part of the processing I did was to create a painting called Overflow, where I put the character of Elizabeth sort of on the cusp between light and darkness, and there's sort of an image of stairs, and you don't know, like, will she ascend up into the light? Or will she turn to the darkness? You don't know. So the painting is a processing of that. Fortunately, I'm on the far side, on the other side, so now I know she ascended upwards. So there was a positive, and there was lots of amazing things that happened. But even years later, at that thing, it was 5 years post-diagnosis, you don't know, is it going to come back? Is it not going to come back? What's going to happen? And even now, many years later, when I look at the painting, it can hit me in surprising ways. I just can come back and renew things that I thought, had resolved or put to bed, so to speak. But they're still there. They're still real. Post-diagnosis, our family sort of recommitted to the idea of family trips.
My dad and I were out exploring on Salt Spring Island, and I remember we came across this big chalkboard, this big wall that said in big letters, "Before I die, I want to blank." And then my dad turned very serious and he looked at me and said, "Take a picture of me writing this because I want to actually do it."
So I picked up a piece of chalk and I wrote, I want to have an art exhibition, a solo exhibition of my own art before I'm 50. I want to do this before I'm 50. But I had no plan. I had no gallery. And I thought, I remember the guy at Fleet Gallery. He liked me. But it had been years since I had really reconnected with Jeff Gazenzer.
Every so often, I would have some of Andrew's pieces hanging in the gallery. And maybe a few years later, I started talking to Andrew about an exhibition. The better timelines for having a show in the gallery are more in the springtime and in the fall. But the only time that was available at that time was August.
I'll give you a spot in August, 2 years from now. So this was like 2016.
We printed out that picture of him writing it on the wall, and we had it there so that people could see he accomplished his dream and he did what he wanted to do.
The place was packed. It was absolutely packed, and then pieces started selling.
I walked in and I saw the painting that is behind me, and I just knew I had to have it. And I was noticing that there were quite a number of little red dots, and the little red dots mean that the painting is sold. So, I just beelined it for the desk. I said, "Give me a red dot, because I'm putting that red dot on this painting."
Jeff Gazenzer couldn't believe it. He did not know what was happening.
I knew he was going to sell a few, but man, he gave it.
As he told me later, he's like, nobody buys art in August and nobody buys, in your first show. And it turned out that show was his most successful show of his entire year.
Since that groundbreaking show, Andrew's art career has soared with exhibitions, residencies, and awards. Now he's preparing for his most ambitious art show yet.
I had this vision for a show in which the paintings would evolve and change as you look around from the first painting to the last, where they stylistically grow and develop. And that was the dream for the show. Yes, hi. Yeah, calling to confirm that August 29th of this summer is going to be good for the show still? Yes, fantastic. Yeah, that's going to be a great show. Yeah, thank you so much. Yep, bye-bye. Woohoo! Excellent. All right, let's work on this. Love of Perennial Journey was inspired from a commission that I did that involved Annabelle hydrangeas. So the painting was all about love, and it just exuded the love that can be found in a relationship, and also the love that we can feel when we look at flowers.
So this is what it's going to look like. And when you fold it over, it pops into this little magazine that people can look at. And it's got all the...
Yes, being in love and having those amazing emotions and adrenaline and heart pump is awesome. But there's something beyond that's even better. And that's what I was hoping to inspire people, that they can focus on that rather than simply falling in love.
Hearts bigger than the moon, running through the night with the howling wolves.
The final piece of my show is going to be mingling of 3 parts. And I want this painting to be epic in as many ways as possible. So I want it to be epic with regard to size. So I designed it to be over 5 feet by 5 feet. I wanted it to be epic with regard to concepts involved. And so I wanted an idea that mashed up secular and religious concepts. A painting that would mash up different types of iconography, from letters, shapes, to actual figurative representative drawings, and also a painting that would merge abstract and impressionist styles simultaneously. And I'd never done all 3 of those things at the same time. And so I'm really quite worried about it, and we'll see how it goes. But it's exciting to sort of try something new and just stretch and go into the unknown with it. I think we almost got it, Elizabeth. Hey, do you have mingling of 3 parts?
Already got it.
Perfect. I'm gonna grab this one, and then...
I'll go for the last one.
Okay, and then we should be ready to be there by 9.
When I first saw his work, I was kind of stunned. Because you don't expect that from a chemistry teacher.
When you get that amazing spark of inspiration, just go with it, because you have been given something amazing, whatever it is. Take that, hold it, and then commit to do something with it.
Andrew found a way to mix art and science, both in the classroom and in life. And like a perfectly balanced chemical reaction, the result has been nothing short of explosive.
Over 52 years that I've been in the framing business, nobody comes close to Andrew.
A goal of his that I have noticed is that he wants you to succeed. His goal is to make you automatically awesome.
I couldn't even tell you why I appreciate the kind of art that I have hanging in my home. It just speaks to me in so many different ways about, who Andrew is, the kind of perseverance and tenacity that he has. It's just really inspiring.
You don't play to win or play to avoid losing. You play for the joy of playing. And for me, art is a beautiful game.